Today, we're going on an incredible adventure. We're going to follow a single drop of water on its amazing, never-ending journey. It's a cycle that connects literally everything on our planet, from the deepest oceans to the highest clouds, and it's happening all around us, all the time.
It's one of those questions we've probably all had at some point, right? You look up at the sky during a downpour and just think, where did all this water come from? And how in the world did it get way up there?
Well, it's all part of this huge, ancient process that's been shaping our world for billions of years. It's called the water cycle. You can think of it like a giant circle, a journey with no real beginning and no end.
So, this journey our water droplet takes has four main stages. First, you've got the ascent, where it goes up, then a transformation, up in the sky. After that, it makes its return back to Earth. And finally, the gathering, where it gets ready to do the whole thing all over again. Let's follow it step by step.
Okay, so where does it all start? Well, it all kicks off with the real powerhouse of this whole system, the sun. Its energy is what gets everything moving.
This very first step has a name, evaporation. When the sun shines down on an ocean, a lake, or even just a puddle on the sidewalk, its warmth gives the water energy. And with enough energy, that liquid water actually changes into an invisible gas, which we call water vapor.
Now, because this water vapor is super light, lighter than the air all around it, it starts to float. It just rises up and up, leaving the ground far behind and heading high into the atmosphere.
If you're trying to picture this, it's actually something you've probably seen a bunch of times. It's just like when you see that steam rising from a really good cup of hot chocolate. That steam, that's basically evaporation in action. It's the same idea.
All right, so our water vapor is way up high in the sky. But here's the thing, it's totally different up there. It's much, much colder. And it's time for a big change.
This next step is called condensation. As that warm water vapor travels higher, the air gets really cold. And that cold air zaps the heat right out of the vapor, causing it to change back from a gas into teeny tiny little droplets of liquid water.
And that is what a cloud actually is. I mean, a single one of these droplets is way too small for us to ever see. But up there in the cold, trillions of them start to huddle together. And when enough of them gather, poof, they become visible to us as the clouds we see floating by.
And again, this is something you've definitely seen happen right in front of you. Think about breathing on a cold window on a chilly day. You see how it fogs up? That's condensation. The warm water vapor in your breath is turning back into tiny liquid droplets on the cold glass. It's the same exact process that's happening miles above your head.
Okay, so our little water droplet is now part of a big, fluffy cloud, just hanging out with trillions of other droplets. But, it can't stay up there forever. The next part of its journey is heading back down.
We call this stage precipitation. What happens is, as more and more of those tiny water droplets join the cloud, it gets bigger and heavier. Eventually, the cloud gets so full and heavy that it just can't hold all that water anymore. And that's when gravity takes over and pulls the water back down to Earth.
Now, precipitation can look like a few different things, right? It all depends on how cold it is. If the air is warm enough, it falls as liquid rain. But if it's freezing cold, those water droplets turn into beautiful, unique ice crystals. And that's snow. And sometimes they can even fall as little hard balls of ice we call hail.
So our water droplet has made it back to Earth, but the trip's not quite over yet. This is the last big stage of this loop, the gathering. This is where the water collects before starting that whole cycle once more.
And this final step is called collection. It's pretty much what it sounds like. All that water that falls flows over the land and starts to gather together. It fills up our rivers, our lakes, and a lot of it eventually makes its way to the huge oceans, joining countless other droplets.
But not all of it runs off into rivers. A whole lot of this water actually soaks deep into the ground. And this groundwater is so important because that's what trees and plants drink to grow and survive.
And so our water droplet finally gets to rest for a bit, whether it's in a giant ocean, a quiet lake, or deep down in the soil. And it'll just wait there until the sun shines down again and gives it the energy to kick off that incredible journey all over again.
We've followed our droplet all the way around, so let's just do a super quick recap to see the whole beautiful cycle in one simple view. So, let's run through it one more time. First, evaporation. Water turns to gas and goes up. Then, condensation. That gas turns back to liquid and forms clouds. After that comes precipitation. The water falls down as rain or snow. And it all ends with collection. The water gathers in oceans and lakes. See?
A simple but powerful pattern.
And here's really the most important thing to remember. This cycle, this constant movement of water up, over, and down again, is what makes life on our planet possible. Every single plant, every animal, you, me, we all depend on it every single day.
So I'll leave you with this pretty amazing thought. The very same water that you drink today, it could have been floating inside a cloud over the ocean just last week. And before that, it might have been part of a glacier. The question is, after it leaves you, where will it go next?